Hey friends, my name's Steven with Leviathan Snakes, and this is Aries. He is our beautiful sunset boy, and he's going to be helping me talk about this week's topic, which is the current state of the ball python market. And we're really excited. This video was inspired from our friend Sean over at Lever Genetics. We're going to put a link to his Instagram page down below. He's an awesome dude, and we were talking about this very thing last night, and it was really interesting, really cool, and I was like, we should make a whole video on this. So we're going to be talking about prices, how they've changed from last year. We're going to be talking about the projects that we think are hot and kind of the direction that the hobby will be going towards in the next couple years, as well as one of the big key differences and one reason why I think that some people get out of the ball python hobby. Anyways, we hope you enjoy. If you haven't hit the like button, haven't left a comment, haven't subscribed, please do so. We're going to be playing the intro clip, so you got time. Let's get to it. We got Aries in October of 2020, and at the time, if you were going to buy a visual male sunset, you were looking at paying about $4,000 to $5,000 asking price. If you go on Morph Market today, which it's November 4th, I think, 3rd or 4th, in November of 2021, the price isn't $4,000 to $5,000. Instead, you're looking at closer to about $6,000 to $8,000 for a hatchling male visual sunset. And it's really interesting and really cool in my opinion. So if you go on like right now, I think like there is a male who's absolutely beautiful example of the morph. There is a male visual sunset, single gene, nothing else extra for $8,000. And I think it's the only one that's on Morph Market at the moment. But this is just one piece of evidence that kind of points to this first whole point on the way that ball python prices have changed over the year. It's not just sunset, it's not just high-end projects. Last summer, we bought a pastel clown female hatchling, and she was about $350, I think, plus shipping. And now, if you go on looking for a pastel clown female hatchling, they're about $600 to $650. Again, the price has about doubled. It's not just sunset, it's not just recessive projects though. It is incomplete dominant. So last November, I think it was, so almost exactly a year, we bought 2 GHI girls. And they're absolutely beautiful. We're super excited about GHI. We think it's one of the most stunning morphs out there. And when we got them, they were $70 each as hatchlings. Now, if you are to go find a GHI female hatchling on Morph Market, you're looking at spending about $150 to $200. So across the board, it doesn't matter if it is a lower end, like less than $500 morph, if it is a recessive morph, if it is a high-end morph. Projects in ball pythons have exploded, and it has drawn in so much interest that the prices have about doubled. And I think that's really cool. So one of the things that I think that this says about the market is that there is not so much of a scarcity of ball pythons, but a huge demand that has happened. And I think it comes from COVID. I think that a bunch of people, ourselves included, got into the ball python hobby as breeders at like the start of COVID. And when this happened, there was a bunch more people who are willing to buy more expensive animals, not just pets in all this. So because there was more people willing to buy these animals, but supply didn't have a chance to increase production, instead it's the same amount as there had been in the previous years. They now have a scarcity issue where there's so much demand that if you are looking to buy a sunset snake in 2020, you might list a sunset snake for $5,000 and it takes a month before you actually sell it. Now, if you list a sunset, I guarantee it, if somebody lists a sunset male for $5,000, it'd be sold in the same day. I've seen it happen. I've seen them go up on Morph Market because I'm maybe a little bit obsessed and watch the market like it's stocks or something. If you are going to have that issue where you price an animal and it sells so fast, the next time you have that animal, you might be like, okay, I priced it for $5,000 and it sold immediately. What happens if I price it at $6,000? And then you price it at $6,000, maybe it sells immediately, maybe it takes a week to sell instead of a day. but it still sells. So now, the next time you have an animal, you'd be like, all right, the last one I sold for $6,000, I'm gonna put it at least at $6,000, maybe even a little bit higher, maybe 6.5 or 7,000. And this happens multiple times. And one of the cool things about Morph Market is that you can see what other animals have sold for. So when you have an animal, like a sunset male, you will go onto Morph Market if you're doing your research and will look at, all right, what have other sunset males been selling for recently? And when you see that they've been selling for $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, even if you bought your animal for $4,000 a year ago, you'd be like, oh, well, this is what they're worth now. So when I post up my hatchlings, I'm gonna put them at the current market value or maybe a little bit higher. So it's just, because it's been such a good year and there's been so much interest, I think that this is the main reason why prices have risen. This is really good for people who are in a position to capitalize on it, but there is a chance that if you bought into Sunset now, that in 3 years, 2 years, however long it takes you to produce them, that the market won't be as hot as it is. There are some things on this that I think I want to allude to, specifically the projects that I think are going to be really, really cool and strong in the future. So a lot of people have gotten into breeding ball pythons during COVID. And when you get in, not anybody, very few people, let me say, are going to be immediately jumping in and spending $5,000 on a snake. Instead, they might spend $500 on a snake. So they might be buying some pieds or some clowns or stuff like that. And throughout the year, maybe they have seen some success and that they realize that this is something that has potential and it's something that they really, really want to do. So now that they've seen some success with the initial investment, they're looking at taking their collection up a notch. And if they're already into pieds or clowns or things like that, they're going to be looking at puzzle or maybe Wookiee, maybe sunset, like the next stage up in tier, because they already have that base level mutation that they're going to build the rest of their collection off of. I think that this is a really, really good opportunity for projects like Sunset, because these people who have already demonstrated that they are capable of succeeding in the ball python hobby, as they are trying to buy their next animal, they're going to be looking at animals like this. So people who are poised, who are already in the project early on, will be ready to supply them with whatever need, whether it's a het animal, whether it's a visual, whatever it is that that market is looking for. And I think anticipating the needs of the market is something that is really, really, like, I don't want to say important, because I don't think you have to do it, but it can give you an edge. It can give you a leg up. So honestly, if just for me, I love the Sunset Project. If we didn't sell a single one, we probably wouldn't just breed 1 million of them, but I definitely want to keep breeding them because I think that they're just beautiful and I want to explore them more for my own personal reasons. Anyways, going on to the current state of the market, I think that the slightly higher end projects are poised for the next big boom, and I think that morphs across the board are more valuable at the end of 2021 than they were at the end of 2020. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is just an aspect of the market that we've noticed, and that is a lot of people have jumped in at the same time that we did, and a lot of people have gotten out. And this isn't like a value statement. There's plenty of extenuating circumstances that cause this. But I do think that one potential motivating factor for this is that people jump in because they see the potential of a return. They're like, oh, I can spend a couple $1,000s, and once these snakes are big enough, I can get a return on that investment. And they don't really think of anything beyond the fact of breeding the animals and incubating the eggs. So then when they finally have those snakes and they don't sell immediately and they have trouble selling them, even if the market's hot, they think that maybe this isn't for me. And then if an extenuating circumstance comes up, like an emergency or a catastrophe, and they need to deploy some money, but they don't have it anymore because they have put them into snakes, they have to make a choice either to address the emergency and potentially sell off animals that they needed for their business, or find some other way to fix the emergency and trust the fact that their animals will make them their return. And if their animals are not already making them a return because they're having a hard time selling hatchlings, it kind of makes it a no-brainer on what you would want to do or what should be the right choice. So I think that one of the things that is critical in the current market is to proactively establish your marketing so that way you have an audience who trusts you and is willing to buy from you way before you ever have an animal to sell. Like way back in the hobby, not necessarily like last year, but people could breed a spider to a normal and people would be beating down their door to get one of those snakes. Now, it's not like that. It's not just about creating a snake with the most morphs. It's about creating a beautiful snake. And even beyond creating a beautiful snake, it's about letting people know that you have this beautiful snake and making them want to buy from you, making them want to support you because you are their friend or you are like them, you are a good person, you help them out, that kind of thing. You're going to provide the best customer service. Whatever your marketing angle is, having a reason to differentiate yourself from everybody else, because while there is a huge demand for ball pythons, that also means that there is an increase in competition. So I think that the current state of the ball python market is really, really strong. We are so excited for the 2022 season. We actually have a video where we put up all of our pairings. I think it's on this side. I'm not even going to point to the other side. I think it's over here. I'm going to put up a card about our 2022 season pairings. I really hope I'm not wrong on it. But check out the video, and if there's any clutch that you're super excited about, again, we're just now getting paired. I think he's only gotten a confirmed lock with our clown girl so far. But if there's a clutch that you're interested in, go to Instagram, send us a DM, and just be like, hey, I saw your guys' video on your clutch pairings. If you happen to have whatever the snake is from whatever clutch, definitely let me know. Just let us know beforehand so that way we can kind of be prepped in case there's like a flood of interest. We sold pretty much all of our snakes that we had in our first wave of clutches like almost immediately. So definitely, if there's something that you're interested in, let us know and we will definitely let you know once that's available. Again, it's not gonna be until like the summertime, so no commitment, don't worry about that. Just if you're interested, let us know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you are not following us, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, like the video, like the post, whatever it is, as well as send us a message on Instagram if you ever want to talk. It's way easier to talk on Instagram than it is on YouTube because YouTube doesn't have a direct message feature. We post reptile videos, specifically ball python and ball python business videos, once a week, probably usually around Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll see you next week.